message. Oh, there it is.
Okay, got
There
it.
is a message, and you know what it says? It says it is now time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick John DiNallo, who were just yakking in the background.
That's what we do. That's what we do
That's
here.
what you
What in
do.
the world, Karen? You know, you've been around here enough times. Hey,
Well-
everybody. It is What in the World with me, Paul Seaburn, your host of the news show that everybody is talking about because it's real news, sometimes strange, always funny. Nothing like that garbage that you listen to on the various media platforms on cable TV and streaming and all that other garbage. No. You don't come here for that. You come here to have a good time, to laugh, and to hear the strangest news from around the world. From me, Paul Seaburn, the editor and head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org. From Karen Hale, our media mogul at newclevelandradio.net and our co-host. And of course, John DiNallo, our host of What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo, and also our color commentator and all around good guy and everybody's favorite skeptic. So hello to everybody.
Thanks for the intro. Thanks for the intro. I think it's a left-handed intro, but that's okay. That's all right.
That's right. Well, I'm ambidextrous. I'm sorry. That's I don't think I'm the other one. We have to do a shout out. So thank you to everybody out there in podcast land for tuning in. Whether you're tuning in live at 3:30 on Tuesday afternoon in that's Eastern time. That's where we have here in Cleveland, Ohio, the Northeast Ohio area. I'm wearing my Ohio Bigfoot shirt today because I'm in Ohio and I have a Bigfoot store. So that explains that. And I didn't want to change my shirt. I had it on all day. So it's well, what were we talking? Oh yeah. So we're here in Northeast Ohio. Thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in live, if you're listening to us in the future, thank you for letting us be part of your life. And I'm glad we're still around a couple days later with the hurricanes going on. Who knows what's coming around? But I need to do a shout out to one of our regular listeners, a guy by the name of Brian, who John and I both know. Brian the wrestler, in case there's more than one Brian listening. Today is Brian's birthday. So now that if he can't figure it out from that, so I want to say happy birthday to Brian, but also to mention that he's such a loyal listener. Last week, if you recall, we took off a week. And I put a post on my Facebook page to let everyone know. And Brian responded and he said, "Are you really off, or is this part of bluff the listeners?"
He's got a good sense of humor, Brian.
He is dedicated, and he does have a good sense of humor. Yes, I found that out getting back in touch with him. He does have a great sense of humor. So thank you, Brian, for thinking about us and worrying about us. And happy birthday. And let's get right to the weird news of the week. So what do we got this week? Oh, John's going to be all excited. And so is our good friend Bigfoot. Yeah, he's back.
Oh, he's all spry today. He sounds ready to go.
He's sounding good. He's excited. I have a royal Bigfoot story. So you'll find out what that means in a second. Things you shouldn't do on a unicycle. This is for you, John. I know you love riding that unicycle. I've got photos of things you shouldn't do. One
okay.
Is also another one that John might be interested in. By the way, the shout out to the Cleveland Guardians. They are in the playoffs, and everyone in Cleveland is excited. If the Browns were in the playoffs, they'd be surprised. The Guardians, we're just excited. So hopefully we'll have some good news next week about the Guardians. The reason why I brought that up is that one of our stories is about bobblehead dolls. So we're going to find out some interesting information about bobbleheads. Also, things that shouldn't smell like pumpkin spice. I've got a couple of things that on that list that we're going to talk about. A ghostly wedding in Las Vegas. You know, we talked before about people who marry ghosts. So I've got somebody, a live one, who is actually getting married in Las Vegas. We're going to meet her. And this is my favorite story of the week from Paraguay. A monster. This may be my new favorite monster, John and Karen and everybody out there. He is a cigar smoking, rum drinking monster.
That's not a typical MO for a monster.
Well put, John. Well put. Not at all. No, he's not. So I don't want to spoil it, and I want to make sure we get to it. So let's get. We got all kind of more. I've got a bunch of world records. Some more trivia. John's got a great strange sport for us this week, and then of course we'll play everybody, including Brian's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So let us get right to it. I always like to do local stories. So Karen and John may have seen this one, but I don't know if everybody else has. Although the lovely Donna, my wife, did catch it on the national news, on whatever national news she was listening to. This is from the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Tournament, which was held last weekend in Cleveland, Ohio. We're on the shores of Lake Erie. Walleye is the main fish, walleye and perch, the two main fish in the lake. It was a big tournament last week. And the winners is what they are now, winners of a $29,000 prize were disqualified for cheating. Did you hear about this, John?
No, I did not. This is news to me. I didn't hear it at all.
No.
A fisherman was cheating? No.
Cheating. Yeah. Now this isn't like the chess guys cheating where they were using some kind of sex toy to send messages. What happened was the judges discovered that the fish that these guys caught were stuffed with lead weights. So the first thing I thought of was, walleye stuffed with lead, just like Mom used to make. But I've got a picture of these lead weights. This is I had a different concept of this entirely. These things are huge. This is one of the buckets that the fish were in, and what they did was these two guys, they caught a certain number of fish, and the judges looked into their bucket and said that, and while they were weighing it, and they said, this weighs almost twice as much as these fish look like they should weigh. That's what got them suspicious. Yeah, what could have is were, you're looking at it on television, and the camera always puts an extra few pounds on the fish, so that's why it is. But or maybe they should have said, well, we didn't catch them on a line, we shot them, and that's why there's lead in there. But these are lead sinkers that fishermen use. They're huge.
Sure.
So they got disqualified. And if you look up the news story, it was a huge scandal amongst the walleye fishing world, and which apparently is a very family-oriented sport, which I didn't realize. So people were complaining that you're ruining the lives of our children, and apparently walleye fishermen are role models for some kids. So this is just an awful thing to happen in Cleveland, where we don't cheat fishing. So I guess
believe in a way. It's hard to believe.
It really is. And so I mean, I know the headline. I was waiting for a headline to say that the walleye judges were catfished. Which
that was good.
Yeah, but no one did that. So you heard it here first on What in the World, that the walleye judges in Cleveland were catfish, cheating in a walleye contest. Hard to believe. All right, so John, John just can't wait. He's just anxiously awaiting the Bigfoot story, as is Bigfoot. I think is Bigfoot still here? Oh yeah, he's expecting this to be a funny story. I hope I don't disappoint you, Bigfoot. So this one comes from England, not as John would say, not necessarily a place where you normally hear Bigfoot stories. So yeah, so this is about the late Queen Elizabeth and her late husband, Prince Philip. Turns out, according to a Bigfoot expert, Queen Elizabeth and her husband were both fans and believers of Bigfoot. And were fascinated by the whole story. So this comes from a Bigfoot trapper by the name of Albert Ostman. And the Queen and Prince Philip met Albert while they were on a trip in Canada, which is where he does his trapping. And he told them that he was recently in Venezuela, and which is not another, again, not a Bigfoot place, but he said he was in Venezuela and he was kidnapped by 4 Bigfoots, and they took him and they, I don't know if they tortured him or what, but then they released him and he managed to get back to Canada in time to meet the Queen and Prince Philip. So he said he told the Queen the whole story, and I quote, "She believed me implicitly." So that's not just, yeah, okay, she believed him implicitly. Yeah. So Prince Philip, he's even a bigger fan of Bigfoot. He said that
he's in.
I lost it. I froze up here. he said, I told them, he says, "Oh, I believe it. It's true. It does exist. I told him that they're everywhere." So Prince Philip was he was also a big UFO fanatic. We've talked about that before on the show. So apparently he was a big Bigfoot person as well. In fact, I did an article recently in Mysterious Universe about all of the books and files and photographs that Prince Philip had at Windsor Castle or someplace in the royal complex. And now that both of them have passed, the UFO community is demanding that all of this stuff be released because they're hoping that Prince Philip had some inside information from British UFO sightings. So, yeah, King Charles, the new King Charles, he was also a huge Bigfoot fan until he found out that Bigfoot has bigger feet than he does, but smaller ears. So
that's a clunker, Paul. Sorry.
I know. I'm sorry, John. We put, that's one of those hack jokes. You mentioned King Charles, you got to mention his ears. That's all there is to it. So.
Oh, I know. It's a given.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so we got some world records here. So this one comes from South Africa, and I've got photos here. So be prepared. This is a food. This is like being on Jeopardy. That's an audio daily double coming up. This is a food question. Voyola Withu Simanili. And I won't say her name again because I know I said it wrong once. I'll say it wrong twice. Set a Guinness World Record for eating chicken feet. One of my favorites. John, are you a chicken feet fan?
I can honestly say I've never eaten a chicken foot.
No?
No.
How about you, Karen?
No, but my mother's mother liked chicken feet.
I was going to say they're kosher, aren't they? I would imagine.
Well, if it's from a kosher chicken, yeah.
There you go. I knew there was a reason why we asked Karen to do the show today. That was to pinpoint exactly what kind of chicken kosher chicken feet come from. So this lady obviously set a world record for chicken foot eating. She ate 3.5 chicken feet in 1 minute. Now,
oh my gosh.
Well, John, chicken feet aren't that big.
They're small, right? I get that.
They're kind of small. That didn't see. She's so look. She looks so excited about winning. She covered her face, and everybody else is applauding for her. So that it was a 3.5 chicken feet. That's a yard, a little over a yard, a meter of chicken feet in 60 seconds. Other than the certificate, the best part of this whole ceremony was when a guy dressed like Colonel Sanders came over to her and knelt in front of her and begged her to move to the United States so he could start selling these at KFC. Would be a great endorsement. But 3.5, that seems kind of slow for 60 seconds. And there's no meat on them. Take a look at them. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's mostly skin and a little bit of muscle, obviously, because they're feet. And that's really about it.
Doesn't look appetizing at all.
No, I've got a better picture for you in a second when they're better prepared. But to give you a contrast, chicken nuggets, which also have no chicken meat in them either. The record for eating the most chicken nuggets in 1 minute is 19. So obviously there's no bones and you can just pop them in and chew them, but still there's a big contrast there. So I wanted to show John a better picture. Here's a better picture for all of you watching on YouTube. of an entire
Pretty
plate.
gross. That's pretty
chicken
gross if
feet.
you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, that looks pretty tasty there. Those look
Oh,
like
boy,
they're
I
in
don't know.
barbecue sauce.
Oh, I don't know.
I, I'm
No
glad
sale
I'm,
here.
guys, I'm glad I'm fasting because, yeah, I don't think I could eat that. No.
I'm certain I can't, Karen. There's no way.
No, I don't. I'm surprised. Oh well, unfortunately you're gonna have to sit and look at those for a little longer here before I have one more. Oh, I've got one more photo here. Maybe you'll like these. There you go. Here's a package. This is the way they're served in China, which is one of the big markets for
Wait a
chicken feet.
They look like worms.
They do look like
worms.
worms.
Yeah, they do.
They look like gummy worms. For those
Yeah,
of you who
really,
can't see.
exactly.
They, according to the preparation guidelines, they are boiled and steamed, I think, and then there's shrink wrapped into this package. Probably add a little spices and
Oh boy.
you get them at the store, John. Like at when you're standing in line at the grocery store waiting to check out, and there's a big thing of Slim Jims there, or there's a big thing of chicken fingers, so chicken feet.
Yeah, probably the same amount of nutrition as well, but
I don't know. Maybe the chicken feet may have a little more of an actual piece of meat in them than the Slim Jim does.
oh, the Slim Jim. In fact, I just had one earlier today, as a matter of fact.
For breakfast, the breakfast of champions, as always.
I tell you what, it kind of defies description, but I do enjoy eating them. I have to confess.
And they've shrunken since back in the old days.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Oh, no kidding.
So, but there's no. I was thinking, how much meat is on a chicken foot? It's kind of like if you order a corn dog or a hot dog on a stick, and somebody eats the hot dog, and then they just give you the stick. That's about how much meat is on one of these chicken feet. A little piece here and there.
Sure.
The world record, one more world record for chicken wing eating. Competitive eater Molly Schuyler in 2018 consumed, get ready for this, 501 chicken wings. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not chicken feet, chicken wings in 30 minutes during an annual competition. So chicken wings have a little more meat on them than chicken feet. Why they're popular in China, as I mentioned. They can be served as a beer snack, which I think is what this is, a cold dish, or in soup, or as a main dish. And I've heard of them. I've seen them in butcher shops, and people do buy them for soup. They're popular. As I mentioned before, we're in the Cleveland area, so this is an Eastern European ethnic concentration. They're popular in Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and Moldova. So, so if you go into Parma, which is a hotbed of Eastern European culture, you might find these chicken feet as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I know you wanted me to take that down.
Thank you.
That would be good.
Okay, I got a sports story for you, John. This one's from Oregon State University.
Okay.
The Oregon State College of Engineering built a robot that set a Guinness World Record for the fastest 100 meters by a bipedal, that's a two-legged robot. 100 meters time of 24.73 seconds. So let me show you that robot in action. So there you go. Not connected to anything. This is a remote control robot. So we've gone beyond the ones that are connected by a cord. But by the way, those legs look like they have about as much meat on them as the chicken feet.
Yeah.
So 24 seconds, not, obviously not the world's fastest time for a human. Usain Bolt pointed that out, that, that's pretty slow.
Wow. Looks interesting. Looks like an interesting piece of equipment.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's it's fun to watch. Google the running robot, and
I will.
So Usain Bolt said, he laughed. He says, "Well, no, nothing compared to me." Then he found out that this robot got a better shoe contract than he did. So, now he wants to be an investor, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I was thinking about this. They have, it's kind of like a dog. They have these robot dogs. And this looks like a pet almost, rather than an actual human, because there's only half of a body here. And it reminded me of the Jetsons. Now, if you read, the Jetsons were very modern. They're they were supposed to be in the future. So they had flying cars, and they had, a machine that you press the button and it made their food for them. But when it came to pets, what was their pet? Their pet was a real dog. What was the dog's name? Do you remember, John or Karen?
Yeah.
No,
Elroy.
no, that's
No,
the
it is.
son.
Oh, it's not Elroy.
That was their pet son. Their pet dog was Astro.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Astro. Okay, right.
Astro did absolutely nothing. It was a typical normal dog. The only thing futuristic about it was instead of going outside, which it couldn't because they were suspended in midair in their house, he had a little treadmill that he ran on. So that was it. This looks more like a Jetsons dog to me than that one did. But anyways, okay, let's get to the bobbleheads. I want to ask John before we get into this story. Now, John, we tout John as our sports guy, and John is a huge sports fan. He's been to many games of all sports. I'm guessing, John, that you have a number of bobblehead dolls in your collection. Would that be correct?
That is correct. And
give me an estimate how many you have.
well, I'm going to say, and this will be Cleveland Indian bobbleheads. I'm going to say probably 18.
18.
18
Okay.
Cleveland Indians bobbleheads. I have 3 Cleveland Browns bobbleheads.
Okay.
But I also, in our basement, have 2 large bobbleheads.
Oh,
And the one bobblehead is of Chief Wahoo, and the other bobblehead is the Browns mascot, the Brownie.
oh, the brownie. No kidding.
So next time you come over, they're clearly displayed near where our television is.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised I didn't notice.
Yeah. I'll take a photo afterwards and I'll send it to you. But
All
yeah.
right. Well, speaking
Well,
of
we're
big
all coming over this Sunday for Browns
wait a
football.
minute.
bobblehead Sunday. That's right. I believe it is bobblehead Sunday. Today is Taco Tuesday and
It
Sunday
is taco. You're right, exactly. Oh,
Karen, do you have any-
spot.
But Karen's also a big Guardians fan. Do you have any Guardian bobblehead?
Oh, yes, I do. Probably about a dozen plus.
A dozen bust. A dozen. Is that
Yeah.
the technical term for a bobblehead? A bust?
Dozen plus.
Oh, dozen plus. Oh, I'm
Plus.
sorry. Plus. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I insulted there. I better move on. So, John, I'm glad you brought up the giant bobblehead because that's exactly what this story is about. The chain of outlet stores by the name of Ollie's Bargain Outlet, which I have been to. There's one in Parma that I've been to a number of times. Celebrated their 40th anniversary by creating the world's largest bobblehead doll. And I'll put the photo of it up. Obviously, it's a bobblehead of Ollie, the founder of Ollie's Good Cheap Stuff. And this bobblehead measures 16 feet, 6.73 inches in height. So that's a pretty tall bobblehead.
Wow.
Yeah, and in order to get the record from the Guinness people, it had to actually bobble. So the guy up there is shaking the head. So that in order to
Making sure it's legitimate, right? Wow.
there you go. And also they have a little Ollie, little guy dressed up like Ollie down there. Ollie, by the way, was the founder. His name is Oliver Rosenberg, and he was one of the principal money men behind Ollie. So he put in the most money, so they named the store after him. Okay, so we found out that John's got a number of bobblehead dolls. Nowhere near the world record. The world record is held by Phil Darling, and I'm going to show you his collection. I apologize for the
Oh
blurry
my
photo.
gosh.
You looking at this on YouTube or live. Phil Darling has in 2015 he had 2,396 bobbleheads, and since then he has continued to collect them. As of today, he has 2,886 bobbleheads, all on display on shelves throughout his home, I guess.
Wow.
Where he lives by himself. What? Go figure. So
That's
now,
a surprise.
there's 2 guys in Chicago. I didn't want to put their picture up because they're not officially world record holder, but they have created something called the Bobblehead Museum. and they have over 10,000 bobblehead dolls in their collection at the Bobblehead Museum. If you're looking to make a road trip, any of you out there, and you're in the Chicago area, look for the Bobblehead Museum. So I had to look up the history of bobbleheads, as I like to do. Bobblehead dolls were originally called things like Nodder, Wobbler, or Wacky Wobbler, which, if I remember correctly, were 3 nicknames we gave John in college as well.
All these secrets being revealed on the show after all these years. Oh my gosh. What am I going to do?
Yeah, Wacky Wobbler. That was the one I do remember. So these are collectible action figures. The head has to bounce, so it's on a spring. And they date back to the 17th century, which amazes me, to India and the Far East. They were, and this sounds sacrilegious, but the original bobblehead dolls were Buddhas that people took home with them, I guess, to remind them of their sacred leader, and they were called temple nodders, which is what I am during the sermon at our church.
All these secrets of everyone. You're next.
Yeah, I'm worried.
There you go. So baseball bobbleheads started in 1960. And when Major League Baseball made them out of paper mache, of all things, and they made one for each team. And I do have a picture of I believe, the New York Yankees.
Aww.
Cute little guy. And there was a reason why I picked this one. So what they did was they all had the same face, but they would give each one the number or the uniform of different players on the team. So Babe, 1960, Roger Maris had one, but so did on other teams, people like Roberto Clemente, who looked nothing like this little cherubic, angelic-faced bobblehead here. So eventually they figured out the technology to make the bobbleheads look like the players. This particular one is a world record most valuable bobblehead. It's from the original 1960 series, recently sold for over $40,000. So
wow.
Hang on to those bobbleheads, John.
Yeah, I will. I don't know if I can command that kind of money with the ones I've got, but
no kidding.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So now we go from bobbleheads to Google Eyes.
Google Eyes.
There's my nice segue here. Self-driving cars. Would you ever ride in a self-driving car, Karen or John?
Not me.
I would avoid it. I would avoid it. Yeah,
I'm in the same camp. Even on a closed track, I think I'd avoid it as well. I'm terrified when I'm driving myself. So the biggest complaint that comes about self-driving cars comes not from the passengers, but from pedestrians. And the biggest complaint is that pedestrians who see one of these cars coming and they don't see anyone in the driver's seat, they don't know if the mechanism in the self-driving car has seen them. So a company in Japan has solved the problem. And the way they solved it, I've got a picture of one of their test vehicles here, is with Google Eyes in place of the headlights, or as a modification of the headlight. And if you look down at picture number B on this photo, so these are huge eyeballs on the front of golf carts. That was their test. And when the car recognizes that there's a pedestrian standing about to go into the crosswalk, it looks at them. So the pedestrians said that they like that far better than the ones without the eyeballs, which are pictures C and D. So this is the new invention to help pedestrians. What I thought, now if they add these to cars, what they need to do to help sell more self-driving vehicles is whenever one of these cars sees a vehicle that has a driver in it, to have the eyeballs roll upwards, like, oh geez, another one of these.
that would be funny.
Yeah, I think that would work. I think it'd sell a lot of cars. So here's an interesting little factoid that the inventors found out. They surveyed the pedestrians, and they found that men pretty much disregarded the eyeballs, but women really appreciated the fact and felt safer when they saw that the eyeballs recognized them, that the car recognized them, which I thought was interesting. What they didn't like when the cars started winking at them and honking the horn at them, opened the door, tried to get them to come in. So now, if you look at this, it just reminded me, there's a number of car styles that had headlights that looked like eyeballs. And Karen, you drive one right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I do.
Karen has a Volkswagen Beetle, the modern version of the Volkswagen Beetle, which they definitely look like eyeballs. Now, my cars don't. John, I don't think you have one of those.
No.
So I've got a couple classic vehicles with headlights that look like eyeballs. Let's see if you can name them here, and then we'll identify them for everybody listening in.
Edsel.
That's a pretty easy one. That's right. The Edsel looked like it also had a nose.
It did.
It looked like vampire teeth over there. So that was an easy one. Let's see if you can get this one, Karen and John. Now there's a cute little car face. The grill looks like a smile and the two round eyeballs.
Would that be a Fiat?
Close. You're in the right continent.
It's not that close. It's not that close, Paul. Oh.
That is an Austin Healey.
Okay.
From Great Britain. You could tell by the one hint would be that the steering wheel's on the opposite side.
Oh yes, I should have known that.
Cute little car. My favorite. This is one of my all-time favorite cars in general. Excuse me while I bring that photo up. Oh, there we go.
That is cute. What is it?
That's a Citroen.
Oh.
Yeah, the Citroen 2 CV. It's called. You don't see them here anymore. There were a few still on the road, but they don't meet the safety regulations anymore. They're terribly unsafe. But like the old Volkswagen Beetles, they were very economical, fun to drive, cheap. So it'd be nice. I think you can still get them in Europe, but safety first, as we say in the U.S. So
that is some shade of green. That is some kind of shade of green.
Yeah, that's a European. Wow. Yeah, that's not quite a racing green. That's more of
not quite, but yeah.
No. Okay, so this is things. Let's move on to things you shouldn't do on a unicycle. This is for John again, the only person I know who owns a unicycle.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
So this is a Scottish athlete, Josh Auld is his name, from Edinburgh. He combined two of his favorite hobbies, which are unicycle riding, obviously, and weightlifting. And he set the Guinness World Record for the most pounds lifted over his head on a barbell while on a unicycle. 150 pounds. He had balanced over his head as he rides across a bridge in Edinburgh. So he set a second record back at the gym when he fell over and wiped out an entire Peloton class. Riding normally, not lifting anything. I'm thinking, how bored do you have to be to decide, what I want to do? I have the urge to weightlift and ride a unicycle at the same time. And then he spent months training in order to be able to do it. What's he going to do now? I mean, he can't get a job doing this. He's not going to train other people. He lives in Edinburgh. He can't get on America's Got Talent, maybe on Britain's Got Talent. Do the Tour de France. He'd be great going downhill on the Tour de France.
That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, clear people out from in front of him. But so anyways, I thought that was just unbelievable.
That's unique.
Yeah, very unique. Very unique. Let's see. This is interesting story about food. I think this is my good excuse to take the pictures down here for a little while so you can see our entire heads here. McDonald's. Now, the three of us are all about the same age. We were already into our teenage years, I believe, when McDonald's first came around to our neighborhoods. So we were, and long before Happy Meals were invented. So this isn't really for us, but for the next generation who grew up on Happy Meals. McDonald's is bringing back Happy Meals, but not for kids, for adults. They're it's
Really?
called, yeah,
Yes, they
yeah.
are.
They come, yeah, complete with a toy. So it comes in a special box, and instead of a hamburger, you get a Big Mac or a 10-piece container of chicken McNuggets, a soda and fries, and you get a collectible action figure, not a bobblehead, sorry, Grimace, Grimace the Hamburglar, Birdie, I don't know who Birdie is, and something called the Cactus Buddy, which has something to do with the people they're co-promoting it with. To make it more real, a more real, reliving your childhood days. For an extra charge, the clerk will pretend to be your father or your mother, and you can beg them to buy you another one. Because you didn't get the toy you wanted. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
So, but it doesn't mean, even though you buy an adult, they don't have an adult ball pit for you to go into, because there's no way they could control what would go on in an adult ball pit. So McDonald's doesn't need that kind of controversy. I mean, but do you, as an adult, do you really need a toy with your Big Mac?
Well, of course, I want everything that comes with it.
Well, I think it's novel. Obviously, McDonald's is so popular, right? So they're coming up with something that's a twist.
Now,
It's a novelty. It really
tell
is.
you what, but if you want me to get nostalgic, bring back the 15-cent hamburger, and then
That
I'll
would be good.
nostalgic. That's
Yep.
right. 10-cent fries, 15-cent hamburger.
Sure.
Okay, here's some things you shouldn't make pumpkin spice flavored. One is the Big Mac, obviously. But this is a real product, and I don't have a photo of it because they want to, because it's got the company name on it. But Hefty has come out with trash bags that are cinnamon pumpkin spice scented. So your garbage smells like, pumpkin spice. I know. Hard to believe. So I went to the store, and sure enough, I bought some, and I used them, and I put them out in the trash. And I looked out the window last night because I heard some noise, and there's raccoons in my trash can, and they're pulling this bag out, and they got their little hands holding their tiny little noses because they don't want to smell pumpkin spice either.
I don't
They
blame
want to
them.
smell my old spoiled food. Yeah.
Oh,
I want to
And-
mention that. Oh,
And the worst part is that the pumpkin spice flavoring has no pumpkin in it.
no pumpkin. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Oh, very good. It's like cinnamon and cloves and nutmeg and all that good stuff, and no pumpkin. Yeah, it doesn't even smell like pumpkin. We used to talk. I haven't had a ghost story in a while, so I wanted to mention this lady. Brocarde is her name. She's a singer in Great Britain, and we talked about her on a couple of shows where she wants to marry a ghost, a 17th century Victorian soldier, I believe he is. And so she's talked about getting married. Then they had a fight, and they broke up, and he didn't buy her the right ring and all this other nonsense. So finally they're getting married, and they're coming to Las Vegas in order to get married. And even though she admits that he has a jealous streak, and he hides her lingerie because he doesn't want anybody else to see it. Yeah, she shows too much skin. I don't know who she's showing her lingerie to besides the cook.
really?
But he's Victorian, so that's the thing. So her family disapproved. I don't know what his family thinks because she can't even communicate with him. But what I thought, they had to go to Vegas. They wanted to go to Vegas to get married, and they wanted to go to one of those chapels and have a dead lounge singer sing for them. One of the famous dead singers. So they went looking for him, and they were so disappointed to find out that Wayne Newton is still alive. I had no idea. He's been around for a long time, the old Donkey Shane guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I want to show you this this monster from Paraguay. So this came from a crime blotter in Paraguay, and there was a strip center, and there was a store in the strip center, a boutique, and they showed a video. This is an online blotter, showed a video of a police officer going up to the window, and inside you can see something, and he shoots at it. So they said, he wouldn't obviously, he wouldn't shoot at a person. This is Paraguay, not Los Angeles. So he says, so they said the reason why he shot at it is because it was I want to get the name right, a Pombero. Now I want to show you the picture of the that's the guy. See if I got the Pombero. There he is. Oh, okay. Here's the Pombero. Do I have a picture of the? No, I don't. Okay, so this is what he says he saw, a Pombero. So this is in a neighborhood called El Amarada, and what they suspected, the people who believe in the Pombero, is that this creature, 4 foot tall, very hairy hands, hairy feet, especially the hairy feet, was looking for cigars and rum and women. Now, I don't know if it was in that order.
Wine, women, and song, right?
That's what the Pombero likes, is wine, is that's right, cigars, rum, and women. So the police officer chased allegedly, and they had it on video. He allegedly chases it out, and it runs into a river, and that's when he loses it. So everybody in town believed that this was the monster that he was actually shooting at, and so the police, the commissioner, the local commissioner, had to get on the news and say this was not a Pombero. This was a human being. He shot at him because the burglar pulled a gun on him. So people said, no, it's a Pombero. We know it's a Pombero. In fact, the guy who shot the video, he said that the Pombero was looking for this man's wife. He says, he came to look for my wife. He was not homeless. He was a Pombero. He come to get my wife pregnant. That's why I called the police. I saw he was getting closer, so I called the police. He escapes through the back window and goes into the mountain where they think the Pomberos live. So this is an ancient Paraguayan, Brazilian legend of this creature. And I wanted to show the hairy feet. There we go. So there's a nice photo of hairy feet. So they believe it to be both good and evil. On the positive side, it protects nature. So they say that it protects birds. If they see humans coming up to harm a bird, they'll whistle and scare the birds away. But on the negative side, they steal eggs, they steal livestock, they scare horses, and the worst thing is they impregnate single women, either by tricking them into having sex with them or just touching them with their creepy hairy hands, resulting in babies that are also ugly like the Pombero.
Oh my.
And hairy.
What a story.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, these guys must be good to convince, if I had hairy feet now I do have hairy feet, but if I had hairy feet like that, I'd still be single, I think. That's just not, those are not appealing to most women, I would say.
I don't think so.
No. So that's it. So the way to you have to get on the good side of the Pombero in order to keep them from your young daughter. This is terrible. I don't want to offend anybody. So to ward off evil Pomberos, the recommended gifts are, as I said, cigars, rum, honey. So if you go to a home in Paraguay, you might find those scattered about the home, and they leave them out at night, kind of like we leave cookies out for Santa Claus. So he leaves your presents. They leave cigars and rum out so that the Pombero smokes it and drinks it and then leaves rather than chasing after their daughters. So, and if you give them enough gifts, they can switch from evil to good. So, if you wake up in the morning and your rum is gone and the cigars are smoked, it's a good sign. So leave some more out, unless it's your uncle that lives in the attic. But then, just I don't know what you do for him. So anyway, so I thought, he's become he's high on my list of new favorite monsters.
Well,
After
I'll tell you what, there's another unique story for sure, Paul. I never heard of that creature before this.
no, and it's not a Bigfoot, but obviously it's more of a hairy.
Oh, right.
What does Bigfoot have to say about that? Yeah, that one.
You have to have him chime in, right?
I know, that's right. There's not, there's not as many Bigfoot stories out of South America as Central America. Central America has quite a few, but really that's our monster. That's the United States monster, the Bigfoot. So I think based on that, I know Karen wants me to take down those hairy feet.
Yeah, please do. Yes.
So we'll take them down for a little while we switch over to What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. So every week I ask John, who, as I mentioned a number of times on this particular podcast, John knows more about sports than anyone I know. Sports trivia, but the rules, the regulation, the history. He knows all that stuff, and he knows strange sports. So I ask him every week, John, it's what in the world? We need a strange sport. Maybe something that obviously something no one's ever heard of. Maybe one that we could participate in ourselves. And every week, John manages to come up with another strange one. And I know because I have the photos. And it's certainly one of the weirder ones that have seen and sometimes. So let's turn it over to John DiNallo and What in the World of Sports. What do you got for us this week, John?
Oh, Paul, thanks again for the big intro. Appreciate it. But we do have a very unique sport this week. So the sport this week is water jousting. Water jousting.
Water
jousting.
Those don't go together. Those
right.
Those don't go together.
There seem to be two exact opposites, but it's water jousting. But here, think of it as medieval jousting with a lance and a shield.
Yeah.
But instead of having a horse, you have a boat.
Oh, okay.
So, right. So your vehicle is not the horse, it's the boat. So the goal of water jousting is to send your adversary into the water while maintaining your own balance on your boat. Now, the sport is currently played primarily in France. This is some forerunner here, right? But also, it's also played in Switzerland and in Germany.
Okay.
It dates back so far to the ancient Egyptians, well before the birth of Christ. Paintings and tombs show jousters on boats carrying spears with 2 points at their end, but wearing no protection.
Ooh.
There also is evidence of jousting in ancient Greece.
Wow.
Sicily, and also across the Roman Empire, where arenas were flooded with water for what is called naumachia, which means naval combat.
Wow. So I can't believe we've never heard of this. So this is like they would take the Colosseum in Rome and flood a place like that and flood it.
Yes.
Put boats in there.
Yeah.
And like this, we have this ancient drawing right here. And people would stand on the boats and joust.
I have a little problem. See, we didn't have plumbing back then. How did we get all that water to the Colosseum to fill it?
Oh, well, John pointed out that it was the Romans.
Well, the Romans with the aqueducts. They were able to, and the viaducts both, right? They were viaducts were more for walking and going over the land. But when they created the aqueducts, it was for that specific purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
know. Okay.
Filling up the Colosseum so they could have water jousting?
Yeah, from the research I did, various arenas, it's plural, okay, various locations were flooded on purpose, for this sport. Now, after Roman times, there is no actual record of water jousting until the 12th century. And then in the 12th century, a document was produced from France, which refers to an actual jousting tournament that took place in the city of Lyon in 1177. There are also other documents that refer to water jousting in the 15th and 16th centuries, throughout the Mediterranean coast. So
Wow.
they
Yeah.
actually did spread in the Mediterranean area.
Where there's a lot of rivers and canals.
Oh, of course, of course. Now,
French people smoking cigarettes saying, "Oh, yeah, wait. I'm so bored. What can we do?"
yeah, we can drink.
Entertainment.
We can drink red wine and we can water joust.
We can watch people joust in the canal. Oh,
That's
yeah.
right, that's right.
Pierre, more
It's-
wine.
And speaking of the French, the modern Federation of French Jousting and Water Rescue was formed in 1964, and currently the sport is practiced throughout the entire country of France.
Ah, okay. So,
Now,
so it's people who,
right.
who are water rescuers also are participants in jousting, so that they
Yes,
can
that's
rescue
right.
each
Water,
other.
yeah. No,
when they get knocked off the boat.
it serves a dual purpose. Now,
Yeah.
each region has its own methods of jousting and its own rules and regulations. So there is no standard across the country. It's done by region, which I kind of found very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the most popular version of water jousting, long wooden boats are powered by 8 to 10 rowers, along with a helmsman. The jouster, he wears only white clothing. He stands on a wooden platform that extends off the boat about 10 feet above the water, and he carries a 28-inch tall shield and a 9-foot long lance for knocking the opponent into the river or the canal below.
So we're showing a couple of photos here. That platform sticks way out in front of the boat. It's like it's way out. So the people in the boat don't get stabbed by these two fools jousting each other.
Well, that's what they're doing. Sure. Now,
Yeah. Wow.
Now, so whoever manages to stay atop the platform after an engagement is declared the winner. And each competitor only has one chance. So
it's a pretty simple game.
It's like win or go home. So I mean, it's that cut and dried. Now,
Single elimination.
Exactly. Now, during the annual festival of St. Louis, the best water jousters compete in the prestigious Gold Cup Championship in Cité, which is a French town on the Mediterranean coast. Each tournament is broken down into different weight and age classes, from the junior competition for those that are under 21 to the popular heavyweight class. The winner of the heavyweight event has his or her name engraved on a shield, ready for this, that is displayed in the local art museum.
In the art museum. I'd like to see wrestlers doing.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I mean,
Target.
it takes some ability to balance. I mean, that's the most important thing I believe in this sport is to keep your balance, right? I mean, you have to be agile, but you have to be able to balance, right?
Good
If not, you're in the drink.
And
Now,
your aim. You got to aim.
Sure. Now, to add to the carnival atmosphere, which we're all looking for, is something, light, fun. The crew,
and bobblehead dolls. Yeah.
Well, the crews sing ancient jousting songs. And I never knew there was such a thing as jousting songs, but there are jousting songs, and they're accompanied by their onboard bands as the boats speed towards each other. Now, when you think of this, I mean, it is very funny, right? But when you think of this, look how much production, look at the production that goes into this kind of.
Those are huge boats, by the way.
I mean, it's not like just two guys like on a rowboat trying to knock each other into the water. Look at this.
Yeah.
Okay, so water jousting sounds like a great sport that could add some much needed excitement to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And think of that. I mean, that would be some true rowing competition.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make sure that the coxswain says poke instead of stroke.
Oh yeah, poke them off the boat. That's right. That makes sense. I think that'd be great. I'd pay to see that.
I would pay to see that. I think this is an incredible sport, ladies and gentlemen. And Karen and Paul, we do.
perfect sport for Cleveland. We do have the Cuyahoga River, and we have rowing competitions.
I would like to see the two of you joust each other on a boat. Yeah.
Well,
Karen, I'll tell you.
why do you bring that up, Karen?
Let's go back in time about 40 years, maybe. Let's do that. Let's go back in time about 40 years.
I
That might be
believe
a
that
possibility.
thank you, John, for that great sport. And I don't know if you, as always, as I have to mention that John and I went to college together. We've known each other all of our lives. And we were in the fraternity, and we all got into all kind of trouble together in the fraternity. And we participated in things that we don't always remember, particularly John. So I want to joust his memory here.
Keep bringing that up, particularly me, but that's true. That's very
I
true.
believe one afternoon we came up with the idea that for water jousting long before we even heard about it. But we were in a landlocked college that had no canal. At that time we had no pool, and we also had no horse. And if we wanted to do jousting in the medieval jousting, we had no horses, but we still wanted to joust. So I believe after a number of adult beverages, and we were adults, we were over 18. We came up with our own version of jousting, and I believe I have a photo of it right. I think the most commendable part of this photo, and this is a photo of John and I on bicycles with spears that have boxing gloves on the end. And
It's on the quad. It's on the quad at the school.
It looks like the quad. It certainly does. Yeah, line by tree. One of us has a helmet on, which I think is very commendable. We were trying to be careful, be safety first, as they say. So
yeah, safety first.
Anyways, water jousting. What a great sport! Thank you so much, John, for that. That sport, one that I think Cleveland would buy. Would certainly.
I think we could get some support here. We have to make some effort to try to get it into the mainstream somehow. But
that's right.
We
need a sponsor.
Maybe the podcast will be the spark of it. Maybe we'll get some of our listeners to reply. And
we need an insurance company. That's
why the insurance companies own everything. That's exactly
right. Or one of those the ambulance chasing lawyers.
Oh, okay.
That there would be, not only would it be a good sport, but they'd have a ready-made list of customers there.
Yes, they would.
Anyway, that's the end of What in the World of Sports, which means it's time for Bluff, the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. For those of you who haven't listened to the show before, the rules are simple, just like water jousting. I have three stories similar to the ones you've been hearing all afternoon. One big difference: those were real. These may be real, and they may be a bluff, and it's up to Karen and John and those of you playing out in podcast land to determine which are real and which are a bluff. Wagering is allowed. Place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzers, and let's get right to story number one. Once a year, the North Pole gets flooded with letters from around the world, and the poor little elf-run post office there has to postmark all of them and send Santa's responses. There are no elves at the South Pole, but there's also a post office in Antarctica. And this one is run by 4 women who were selected out of the thousands of applicants recently to spend 6 months at a time running it. They have no running water at the post office, no flush toilets, but they have to process 80,000 pieces of mail going in and out annually. The job also involves counting penguins, which luckily doesn't have the same effect as counting sheep, or their postmaster boss would probably go postal on them. So there's actually a post office in Antarctica run by 4 women who actually volunteered and had to beat out a large number of competitors to get the job of stamping the envelopes and counting penguins. What do you say, Karen and John? Real or bluff?
Well, the counting of penguins, I don't think they would do. And I don't know why you'd have to send 4 women down there. I mean, the explorers, can't they do their own mail? So
Oh,
I'm going to say that you are bluffing us.
Oh, okay. Karen says it's a bluff. And
Yeah.
it's because why would you send women to do a terrible job like
Yeah.
that? Good point, Karen. Okay, John, how about you?
I agree with Karen, but I also have a different take on this.
Oh,
There's no running water.
True.
No running water. Now you got to be
what it
kidding.
said.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Wait a minute. Okay, they're in Antarctica. There's no running water, and you have to be outside. Paul, I pray to God it's a bluff. I just pray to God it's a bluff.
If they go out, there's no trees. You can't even go out in the trees, get some leaves, a handful of leaves.
I have got I get terrible visuals of all that. I really do.
Oh, wait, I got more. Okay, so John says it's just disgusting, and that's why he thinks it's a bluff. Karen
Yeah,
says, why would you send women to do a terrible job like that? So Karen says it's a bluff. So let's check with the judges. And the judges say, believe it or not, you're both wrong. That's a true story.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Who are these women that sign up for this?
It is run by the British Postal Service.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why, it was only open to women. And they had thousands of applicants, and they knew ahead of time there were no toilets, no running water. And and the counting penguins, there's a certain breed of penguins that are only found in that area. So that's part of their job when they're not busy licking stamps, looking for anyways, looking for a place to go to the bathroom. They're counting these rare penguins for the Rare Penguin Service. So let's see. That means the score is 0-0 on the scoreboard up there.
Okay. Okay.
I know it's comeback time for John right here. Let's get to
yes.
Okay, story number 2. Now that so many people are getting products delivered to their homes, there's been a rise in porch pirates who steal the boxes. One family in Texas decided to give these porch pirates a taste of their own medicine. They took a regular Amazon box and made it look like a delivery from a treasure hunt contest. Inside, they put gloves, a shovel, and a treasure map with instructions on how to find a treasure in a local park and when it would be buried there. Sure enough, on the day listed on the instructions, the dumb porch pirates were there with their shovel and the map. Also, there were the local police, who arrested them for 20 cases of theft. As they drove off in the police car, the people waved and said, "Arr, arr, arr." So the people in Texas who got their revenge on porch pirates by setting up a fake treasure hunt that the police were there to arrest the people. What do you say, John? Real or bluff?
I'm going to say it's real, and I'll tell you what. I really like this story, and I do hope it's true, just to teach those porch pirates a lesson.
Porch pirate, that's right. They're terrible people. Terrible people. Okay, so John says the treasure hunt for porch pirates is real. How about you, John? Or John? Karen?
My name is
Karen. Karen,
yes,
okay.
Yeah. Was there a bottle of rum part of this?
No, there was no Pombero involved
okay.
no rum, no cigars.
So
yo ho ho.
Now I have this feeling, the way you wrote these stories, that I have to say it's real, because the first one you said was real, which I thought was wrong. I don't think this is real, but I'm going to say real.
Did you follow that logic, John?
No, it's a little twisted, Karen. Actually, it's a little twisted, but I think it arrives at the same place that I'm at, saying it's a true story.
Well, no, wait. Okay, so but John said. Now you said it's real. John said it's real, and Karen says it's real.
It's real.
Yes.
Okay. You both say it's real. All right. The porch pirate ruse is real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say you're both wrong again. That's a bluff.
Oh, darn.
However, anyone who wants to do this to porch pirates, you're welcome to the idea.
That's my point. I was going to say the silver lining in this one is that you could really sting somebody like that. That would be a good prank. That's how you would prank.
So.
Whereas people say, no, that's how you punk someone.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. for terrible people. Okay, you shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so let's check the scoreboard here, and it's 0-0 as well after round number 2, which means even though points are doubled in round number 3, it doesn't really matter. Somebody's got to get one right here, kind of, or else you're going to go home unhappy. We're already home.
or next week, and then now we're going to be going through all these different scenarios.
There you go. That's right. The lovely Annette, John's wife, is going to suffer for another week. So
oh my God.
Hope John gets this one right. Let's get right to story number 3. Okay. William Shatner knows that if you see a gnome on the wing of the plane you're flying in, you're about to enter the Twilight Zone. However, passengers on a flight from Australia didn't know what to expect when they looked out the window and saw the wings were covered with duct tape. Since they were already on the plane and the airline already had their money, they were forced to sit and listen while the pilot explained it was actually a special duct tape used to cover peeling paint on the wings until the plane could be taken to a giant body shop for repainting. Since the pilot didn't sound worried, and he was flying with them, the passengers decided to believe the pilot and stay on the plane. No duct tape was seen coming unstuck during the flight, but the flight attendant said they served a lot more liquor than usual. Okay, so duct tape on the wing of a plane, real or bluff, Karen?
Now, I'm a little concerned because duct tape would add weight.
Yes.
Oh.
And probably more weight than paint.
True.
I'm going to say this is a bluff.
Okay. All right. That's very logical. Very logical. John?
You did well. I'm going to say it's true. I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say it's true because you haven't indicated how much duct tape.
Whoa.
We don't know how much duct tape is on the wings. I mean, you can look out of the window of a plane, of course, and you could see duct tape, right? But
you could,
but I'm going to say it's true because it's maybe a small amount of duct tape on the wing.
Could be right.
Oh, small amount of duct tape. Okay. Well, I happen to know the writer.
Yeah, you do.
And he only has a certain number of words, so some details are obviously left out.
I see. Okay.
So let's see. So duct tape on the wings of the plane. Karen says that's a bluff. John says it's real. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say sorry to one of you, and that would be Karen. That's a true story. And you're right, John. The wings were not covered with duct tape, but there were spots all over the wing. I mean, it looks terrible. Look it up on Google. I would have demanded to get off the plane. It would have scared the heck out of me.
Well, but here's an interesting point, though. On first blush, when I first heard this, my thought was there was a lot of duct tape, right? That's kind of how I got that. I got the spirit that there's a lot of duct tape over a great portion of the wings, of both wings, actually. But then when we thought of it, well, maybe it's just not that much, it's just a little bit. So I guess I had some logic on that one, which is
there you go.
Which is good sometimes for me to have logical thoughts. It's good.
There you go. And the good news is that John wins 2-0. So that means that a restful week for the lovely Annette.
That's right. We're that's off the hook. We don't have to worry about studying.
And I'm going to have to put Rich to work.
Not to gloat.
There you go. Well, poor Rich. Now Rich is going to get the abuse.
Oh, Rich is going to have to do the work now. That's
right. Oh, all right. Well, that's the end of Bluff the Colors, which means it's also the end. I know you're disappointed. The end of What in the World for this week. I want to thank Karen Hale, our lovely and talented media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our producer and co-host. Thank you for everything you do at New Cleveland Radio, Karen, for everybody and us. Please go to New Cleveland Radio, check out all the podcasts that Karen has. Also, all the ways that you can listen to our podcast on the various platforms for free. I make sure we add. And also, I want to thank my old and dear friend, John DiNallo. Thanks, John, for everything you do and for putting up with all my nonsense. A little more this week than usual for some reason. It must be the weather, but you did a
You know
good
what?
job.
It's a lot of fun doing this show. It's one of the highlights of my week. It really is. So, and we're back on. For everyone who was concerned that we were gone last week, as a famous sports TV announcer says, we're back and better than ever. So
there you
are
go. There you
so
go. So
right.
on that's right. We'll say a happy birthday once again to our buddy Kevin, and I think we are